kidding, huh? At least Ferdinand's mom didn't take it upon herself to sign him up for the bullfight like my mom took it upon herself to sign me up for football when we moved to Oak Park when I was 9. That was the last thing I wanted to do was play organized sports. Guess what? I just signed you up for football. You did what? Okay. Clarence Hogan. I thought I was the only guy who read Judy Blume, but apparently not. He started reading at a young age, though, like myself, everything from Encyclopedia Brown, comic books, and of course Judy Blume. And it was through literature that he has traveled the world, sang and danced in front of huge audiences, and risen as the hero. He's a community developer and educator, and he hopes to pass on his love of literature to his colleagues at work, where he's part of a book club, and to the young people he mentors in his after-school program called Living to Learn. Please welcome Clarence Hogan.
All right. How you guys doing tonight? Lovely show, Tony, by the way. All right. So I was a little confused about this, so I got it kind of twisted because I've been telling everybody the book that saved my life. But I guess if it saved my life, it changed my life too, right? So it was around 1979, and an Atlanta child murderer was running rampant through Atlanta, kidnapping and murdering little black kids. Now this was a phenomenon in the black community because people didn't kidnap black kids, right? Because they knew they wasn't gonna get no ransom. I can just imagine a kidnapper calling my mother's house for ransom money. She'd have been like, look, he owed me some money, right? So I'm not giving you nothing. Teach him how to cut the grass and mow and do dishes, then call me back, right? But nonetheless, she did due diligence, and she got us this little pamphlet, right? We're talking about the book that saved my life, that taught us about kidnapping. We had never heard about kidnapping before in our lives, right? It was a little bitty small pamphlet, kind of like the ones that the Jehovah's Witness pass out from door to door. But it had a lot of information, and 4 things it taught me. One, it was that you should be able to spot a kidnapper. They always looking lurky, and they always wear hats. So I was like, okay, I was always on the proud for that. The second thing is, no, you don't take candy from them, period. Never, 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 right? Made Halloween very difficult for me as a young child, right? The third thing I learned from that little book, talking about the book that saved my life, was that everybody know that a kidnapper drives a certain kind of van, right? Those white vans with no windows on them. Why do they still sell those vans, right? To me, that's a kidnapping van. My friend, her husband bought one. She told me he got it at a good price because it's a kidnapping van. That's why he got it at a good price. That's the kind of van people steal kids in. I think they can arrest you when they see you driving in that van. That's a whole nother story, all right? And then the fourth thing it taught you in this book was to run. If a kidnapper tried to get you, take out running, right? So here I am at school. It's a half day of school. My mother said she's gonna pick me up, so I'm excited. I'm like, yeah, you know what that means, right? McDonald's, because no lunch. So then she got to take me to get some lunch after school. So I'm bidding my friends farewell. See you later. Talk to you later. Yeah, bus riders. See y'all later. Right? And I waited. And waited. And waited. Now teachers and stuff are starting to leave, right? My mother is notorious for being late, right? So I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting. Janitors are leaving. I'm thinking, what is going on? It's 5:45, right? All of a sudden, this vehicle pulls up. It's like an old civil rights van vehicle. It's kind of like a no-name, like a light blue. And I'm thinking, who's driving around in the civil rights movement car in 1979? So already there's suspicion, right? And I look, and there's 4 black guys in it. Excuse the irony, right? So I'm like, what is going on? And so all of the stuff I learned in the book started coming back to my mind. I'm like, uh-oh, are these kidnappers? And all of a sudden, they start pointing at me. And I said, that's exactly what I said. Except for I peed on myself too, right? So I said, oh my God, they here to kidnap me, take me to Atlanta, make me cut their grass. My mother never gonna give no ransom money for living in Atlanta, and I don't even have no accent, right? I was shoot. So I'm sitting on the front steps, I'm like, I'm waiting for them to make a move. The doors open up, I'm like, that's it. I'm not giving them no more lead. I did rule number 4, and I ran. I jumped over the monkey bars, I ran beside the swings, and next thing you know, I'm hurdled on the fence that separates the school from the neighborhood. And I'm like, yeah, if they gonna get me, they gonna have to work for it, right? But I wanted to take that one last victory look. You know that look you give, that grimacing look that like, kidnapper. And I looked back, and I knew I was a good runner, but man, these guys wasn't nowhere to be seen. I'm like, I know I outran them, but what's going on, right? And it's weird because hindsight is 20/20, right? So I start hearing some noise in the distance, and I hear these guys in the distance having fun. I'm thinking, what are these kidnappers doing? They have stopped to do extracurricular activities, right? So I get on off the fence, and I say, okay. I start gathering up my stuff. I had dropped my G.I. Joe lunchbox on the ground. All my homework and paper was all on the ground. So as I'm walking back toward the school, I'm picking up my stuff, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on. And you know how pieces start coming to you later? And I was like, maybe they weren't pointing at me at all. They were pointing at the basketball court. And I was like, oh no, they weren't kidnappers at all, right? So now I'm trying to play it off. I'm like, yeah, you know, I just took a leisurely ran and threw all my stuff on the ground and peed on myself because that's what I do, right? So as I got closer to them, I wanted to walk past them inconspicuously and just act like, you know, I'm just doing a stroll. That didn't work, right? So one of the guys saw me and so mean, he looked at me and said, boo! Right? Because he knew he had scared me, right? And I was like, ah. Right? So my mother came and I told her, and I had to rub it in because she was already late, so I had to get some McDonald's. Now, right? When you almost kidnapped, you gotta go to McDonald's. So I was like, somebody tried to kidnap me. She was like, who? I said, somebody from Atlanta, right? That's what they do, kidnapping. And so as she flushed out the story, she realized that some of that story wasn't actually true because they stopped to play basketball along the way. Whatever, right? So I said, listen, that story that you told us, that book that you gave us, that little book that looked at you, hope witness pass around, that book saved my life. On the day that I was almost kidnapped, silent, sort of, and peed on myself at Atlanta kidnapping.